The Honourable Member for River Heights.
Honourable Speaker, I'm proud to rise in this chamber today in support of our government's first budget. And I want to thank the member from Lac-Dubani for cutting his speech short in order to allow me to get to my speech today. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I also want to begin by extending my personal congratulations to our own Finance Minister, the member from St. James. For keeping his focus exactly where it needed to be, on the needs of those amongst us who, after 7 years of an unrelenting austerity government, have fallen the furthest behind. The young families struggling to find their place in the world, an affordable place to call home, and daycare spaces for their children. The frontline healthcare workers ground down while providing essential care to patients in a purposefully hobbled system that too often viewed them as disposable. The students, the teachers, and the educational workers in underfunded classrooms without the resources and supports necessary to ensure that every child reaches their full potential. And our relatives, friends, and neighbors who find themselves struggling with food insecurity, homelessness, mental health, or addictions issues, whose needs are rarely prioritized when balance sheets and maintaining privilege matter more than people. I wanted to begin with that, Honourable Speaker, because I strongly believe that budgets are the clearest insights one can get into the motivations, the soul, if you will, of a government, what it really cares about, who and what it values. More than any other government document, budgets tell you who your government really is, the kind of province they want to build, and the path they intend to travel to get there. So what kind of province does our budget set us on a path to build? Well, it's spelled out very clearly right on the front cover. One future, one people, one Manitoba. Not like the winners and losers of past budgets, or the us versus them of past campaigns. No, instead, it's focused on ensuring that all Manitobans, working together, can build a secure, stable, and inclusive future for all those who come to call our communities home. That's what our government wants, and that's what Manitobans want. And that's the path this budget begins to chart for us. And that's exactly what the people of my constituency of River Heights expect from their government. On their doorsteps, at our schools, businesses, and places of worship, over and over again, they've told me they want a government that lifts people up instead of pushing them down. One that pulls the community a little closer together rather than apart, creating division and anger. What's more, River Heights understands the role it must play in shaping that government, recognizing that with privilege comes the responsibility to help bring about progressive change. Democracy is never a spectator sport. At some point, advocacy must become action. This gives me a nice opportunity, Honourable Speaker, to raise a topic that I've talked about before in this chamber, and that's the recent development of the River Heights Council of Faith Leaders that was started to do exactly that, take action in our community to improve things. I'm lucky to have in my constituency, Honourable Speaker, 14 churches and 3 synagogues who on a daily basis do untold numbers of progressive acts to support people in the community. around issues like food insecurity, like poverty, like reconciliation, and like work to support the elderly. On February 12th, we had our first meeting as a Faith Council. We came together to talk about our shared challenges as a community and to explore how, together, we might work to address them. And during the course of that meeting, I was deeply impressed by their shared concern for those in need, their commitment to social justice, and their keen interest in working together to find innovative approaches to problem solving. This group is already hard at work on a number of key areas that really symbolize what we're talking about with our budget. Bringing Manitobans together from diverse areas and backgrounds to work together to build our province in a meaningful way. We're already working on housing, finding transitional housing, creating new transitional housing for seniors. Right now, if you're a senior in River Heights and you want to downsize, you actually have to move out of the community you've been a part of for a very long time, out to a different community. That transition alone as a senior is challenging enough, let alone without giving the community that you love, giving up the community you love and you've been in for the past 30 or more years. So we're working on that housing. We're working on the idea of extending daycare. How do we find more capacity for childcare within our community? We're looking also at things like returning to community health, trying to find ways to support the work that we're doing, bringing healthcare closer to the community itself. And this budget, Honorable Speaker, helps us do all of those things. It charts a path forward to allow that grassroots community action to be successful. So this budget is most helpful as we continue to do that work in River Heights. This budget, Honorable Speaker, is built exactly on the advice and insights of countless thousands of Manitobans, just like those in River Heights. And as a result, it focuses on 5 key policy areas: rebuilding healthcare, lowering costs, healthy families and safer communities, and growing our economy. I want to start the core of my comments, Honorable Speaker, with our efforts to rebuild healthcare. No issue dominated the doorstep more than the state of healthcare under the previous government. What took 7 years to tear down will not be repaired in a single budget. But this budget is a significant beginning. We're investing a record $8.2 billion in health, seniors, and long-term care programming. That represents a 13.5% increase in funding, with much of it targeted at closing the systemic gaps and ending the inefficiencies brought on by years of relentless philosophical cuts. We're doing something else, Honorable Speaker, something the previous government never did. We're ensuring that every single nickel of the federal health transfer payments are actually invested in the support of frontline workers and in improving our healthcare system, and not spent somewhere else. Honorable Speaker, while there's a range of interconnected issues driving the healthcare challenges we face, at the very core is a critical staffing shortage. While it will take time, Budget 2024 is taking the necessary steps to address that shortage. We've allocated $310 million for the retention, recruitment, and training of frontline healthcare professionals, a commitment that sets us on a pace to hire 1,000 more healthcare workers over the next year. 100 doctors, 210 nurses, 90 paramedics, and 600 healthcare aides to work in home care, personal care homes, hospitals, and community health settings. To make that an achievable goal, significant investments are also being made at the post-secondary level to increase training opportunities in key areas. For example, we're expanding Manitoba's undergraduate medical education program. We're training more specialists by expanding postgraduate medical education by increasing medical residency spaces. We're training more nurses by investing in 6 post-secondary institutions and funding year 2 of the nurse diploma program at the Neepawa Training Center. And we're training more practical nurses. But there's more. Advanced paramedic training at Red River College, creating a pathway to train doctors at Brandon University, expanding the Bannatyne campus, where we'll train more healthcare professionals, and we're fast-tracking the accreditation of foreign-trained health workers. In time, these programs, along with others outlined in our budget, will ensure that the healthcare workers we all count on to be there for us when we need them most will in fact be there. And again, I can't stress this enough, Honorable Speaker. It's critical to understand that this plan that the members opposite said didn't exist, it didn't come out of thin air. It was built on the solid foundation of months of direct consultation with Manitobans, with healthcare professionals, post-secondary institutions, and experts in the future of health. And I'm incredibly proud to be part of a government team whose focus is working with and engaging with Manitobans to build a better province for everyone. In the time I have left, Honorable Speaker, I also want to touch on a couple of other key areas which relate directly back to insights I've gotten for my constituents, and which the Minister himself got during his pre-budget consultation. The first is in relation to public education, a critically important issue to my community, which is home to excellent schools and countless people who've dedicated their lives to nurturing young learners. As I've mentioned in this chamber before, my own career as a theater, history, and psychology teacher not only enabled me to understand the potential dangers of Bill 64, which pushed me to serve as a member of this chamber, but it gave me frontline insight into the impacts of chronic underfunding of the public education system. For too long, we've asked teachers and educational workers to do more with less in classrooms that were too large and without the full range of critical supports necessary to ensure that all of our province's children reach their full potential. This budget puts a stop to that. In addition to an increase in the overall education budget, significant progress is being made with a $104.2 million investment specifically to help every child reach that potential, including $30 million for a universal school nutrition program. With the recent news that the federal government is now also ready to step up to help feed hungry children, we can look forward to students thriving in our public education system in a way that food insecurity and poverty prevented in previous years. And I'm incredibly proud of that. And I know my constituents are thrilled by that news. I want to take a moment as well, Honorable Speaker, to highlight our commitment to expanding the $10 a day child care initiative to ensure that it's year-round, providing families with access to affordable quality child care on professional development days and throughout the summer. This change will make a significant difference to the lives of families in River Heights. but there's so much more to celebrate. $22.3 million going to providing more direct care hours for seniors in personal care homes, funding a new independent seniors advocate, $116 million in funding to build and maintain social and affordable housing, removing the PST on all new housing builds to get projects started faster, and on the environment, a $10 million investment in New Flyer Industries to build more electric buses, strengthening Manitoba Hydro and Efficiency Manitoba as they aggressively pursue paths to a greener economy, and rebates on EV purchases to encourage more Manitobans to make the transition. Again, Honourable Speaker, our budget reflects the priorities of Manitobans and has been built on a foundation of careful and ongoing consultation, exactly how all public policy should be developed. And that approach has been noticed and welcomed by Manitobans. By way of illustration, I had the great privilege to attend a breakfast meeting this morning with the Minister and members of this chamber, hosted by the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce. Honourable Speaker, the positive energy in that room from people who have been part of a legitimate conversation about the future of this province after years of being on the outside was real. From the speakers at the podium to participants at the tables, people warmly welcomed the budget and this minister and expressed great excitement at working with this government in the years to come. I want to conclude, Honourable Speaker, by saying that our budget is an ambitious outline of the critical work we must do together to serve Manitobans. While the members of this chamber won't always agree with the route we take to get there, the destination itself must never be in question. And I again want to remind members that we must always keep in mind the words of United States Senator Elizabeth Warren, who said, "We didn't come here to talk about things we can't do." This budget sets in place the building blocks to begin to do great things for all Manitobans. And I look forward to sharing that work with you. Thank you.